Hello there. So I have this habit of not asking enough questions because I think it's going to be fine. I guess I'm less confident now that I've said that out loud that that's the reason. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why I continue to do this. Oh, logo, so cool. Forgot about that in the last months. So, okay, here's what happened. Today, Ryan and I, we moved a bunch of furniture. So my boss that I used to work for in Calgary, his nephew lives in Ottawa and is moving to Calgary. Has already moved to Calgary, and so he had this apartment full of furniture. He'd already taken his personal stuff, but he had this apartment full of furniture, and he needed to get rid of it. Basically, he had already moved. I don't know what the details are. It doesn't matter. So my boss was like, "Hey, like I know this person that has just bought a house, so maybe they need furniture." And I'll connect you to. And so we did, and it was great. And we got this really good deal on all this furniture, like a bed and a dresser and like stools, like tall stools for our new like bar space. And anyways, all the things. Very good deal. We paid $1,000 for all of this stuff, which ended up being two of those U-Haul cube things full of stuff. And I thought I had asked all the questions like where are you? Is it all disassembled and good to go? Is it like I think that's all the questions that I asked. In retrospect, not as many as I probably should have, and definitely not as many as I should have because so we get there and so Ryan like backs up the U-Haul up to the door, the garage door, because the guy that we meet is not even the guy that's moved. It's like his roommate. The guy is very nice, and he says, just back up to this door, and then we're gonna go through the garage, basically. And I was like, all right, that's fine. Like that's pretty normal for what are like the tall rooms, apartment buildings, obviously. And so we go through the garage, but then so we're going along, and then we have to like turn a corner, and then we're going down a hallway through two sets of doors. Then we have to go through the elevator, and it's on the third floor and around the corner. And it's like, oh my God, we're getting to the apartment, and I'm like, this is gonna be a nightmare. Like this is so like for the distance from the apartment to the truck is so far. How are we gonna do this? And so we were supposed to meet him at 10 in the morning, but then we were running like maybe 5 minutes late. But then we had forgotten our tools to take apart the bed and like whatever other furniture because he's like, yeah, nothing's taken apart. And so I asked this guy, like, hey, do you have any tools to take apart the bed? And he's like, nope. I'm like, well, F, we're gonna have to go find tools now. So then we had to go to the dollar store in a mall, which is weird. Like I haven't been into a mall since, well, a long time, but definitely since COVID. So we're in the mall, and then like so now, okay, so we find tools that aren't even gonna work, but we get them because we thought maybe they would. And we get to the guy's house like 30 minutes late. I've only booked myself for 4 hours thinking, okay, no worries. We're going to get all of this furniture into this cube van or cube truck thing, and we're going to get it to the house. All I have to do is help Ryan unload, and then he can take the truck back, and I can do the meeting that I had it to. No problem. But then it's forever between the truck and the apartment, and all of the like stuff is bigger than I thought it would be. So I didn't ask what is the layout of the apartment building, like how easy is it to get all the stuff out. I didn't ask what are the measurements of the furniture that we're getting. And so we got some of the big stuff like the couches, and we got a dresser and all that stuff, but not the bed because we didn't have tools for it. And like we filled this cube. And so then we're like, crap, like now it's 12:30 and it's 30 minutes to the house. So we're going to be lucky to even get there and get unloaded by 2 p.m., which is when I have a meeting. And yeah, so then poor Ryan, like we unloaded, and then my meeting ended up getting canceled, which is another story. But I then like Ryan had to go back and do it himself. So now he's there unloading stuff. I mean, I did have another meeting at 2:30, so it wasn't a total loss. But yeah, now he's like loading by himself. Anyways, this, what seemed like an excellent deal, became less so as we are like hours into loading this stuff. The apartment also had like these ridiculously small corridors. They're called hallways, just a hallway. So you like had to get the furniture and then like do all this weird maneuvering and like push it up and around the corner. And like, you know how moving furniture around corners that doesn't quite fit in. Terrible. Anyways, the moral of this story is to ask more questions. Ask all the questions. Like, I regret not asking about the layout and the measurements and like, is there going to be anyone there to help us? Can they disassemble this stuff beforehand? Like, how can we make this as painless as possible? Because it was painful. It was a freaking nightmare to do all this stuff. Luckily, Ryan had the forethought to actually bring like a dolly and then like one of those rolly cart thingies, which made it a lot better. But yeah, ask more questions. This happens to me too when I take on clients sometimes, where I just don't ask enough questions, or I ask questions and then I get answers, but then maybe they're not exactly like the question that I asked. Like maybe it's not quite right. And then I think, oh, well, like that's probably fine. Anytime I think it's probably fine, it's usually not fine. So ask more questions is the moral of the story. I never regret asking too many questions. And like, you can feel it. You can read the room. If you're asking too many questions and you're starting to annoy people, you get like maybe one or two more and then you're probably done. But like, if you only ask maybe a handful of questions and that person's annoyed at you, you might not want to work with that person anyways. And, you know, on the flip side, if you've already asked like 20 questions, then maybe should have thought through your questions beforehand. But like I said, I have never regretted asking too many questions. I usually regret not asking enough. So now I'm thinking that this deal was not as good. And it sort of always ends up that way when I take on a client that I haven't asked enough questions of, and the deal never quite ends up being as good as I think it's going to be. I would love to know how you make sure that you get enough information from your clients or from like a situation, or just how you make sure that you go in to a situation knowing exactly what the scope of it is and like what the cost is going to be, whether that's financial or time or labor or both, all the things. I guess all those things sort of equate to time and money. But let me know in the comments, how do you make sure that you do that? Because this is a thing that I consistently don't do so well at and would like to get better at. I guess I should have like a standard list of questions, although that wouldn't work for every situation. Anyways, let me know in the comments how you guys do it, because I am clearly struggling. I hope you're doing well. I hope you didn't spend the day moving furniture like I did, and I'll see you tomorrow.